The dealer wanted $3,500 to repair this Land Rover air suspension problem. Instead of replacing random parts, the real fault was diagnosed and fixed for around $300. Here is exactly what failed and how to repair it yourself. 1. Diagnosis. How to tell whether it's the air spring, compressor, or valve block. Before replacing a single part, there is something that needs to be understood first. Most Land Rover owners lose money before the repair even starts because the dealer usually replaces entire assemblies instead of identifying the actual fault. A suspension warning appears, the vehicle starts leaning, and suddenly there is a quote sitting in front of you with thousands of dollars in parts. The air suspension failures usually leave important clues because an air spring, compressor, and valve block each fail differently, and understanding those differences can save a huge amount of time and money. If the wrong part gets replaced first, the $300 repair suddenly turns into $1,500 very quickly. So before touching any tools, start with what the vehicle is already telling you. Let's begin with the air spring. If your Discovery 4, Range Rover Sport L320 or Range Rover L405 drops on only one corner overnight, pay attention to that immediately. If the front left corner drops while the rest of the vehicle stays level, or the rear right side looks lower after sitting overnight, that usually points toward an air spring leak. The rubber air spring constantly expands and contracts while driving. After years of heat, weather changes, dirt, and suspension movement, small cracks begin forming around the folds. At first, the leak can be tiny enough that you do not even notice it while driving. However, slowly the symptoms become obvious. You may hear a faint hissing sound, notice one corner dropping after parking, or find the compressor running more often as it repeatedly tries to replace the escaping air. Now move to the compressor. If the entire vehicle raises slowly, struggles reaching ride height, or displays suspension raising slowly warnings, the compressor becomes a suspect. Many Discovery 4 and Range Rover Sport EL320 models originally used older Hitachi compressors, while later vehicles and updated systems commonly moved toward AMK-style compressors. A weak compressor usually gives gradual symptoms rather than sudden collapse. The vehicle may eventually rise, but it feels unusually slow because compressors rarely fail instantly and usually become weaker over time. Now comes the valve block, which confuses many owners because its symptoms often look similar to air spring problems. If both sides drop together, especially at the rear of a Discovery 4, the valve block becomes a stronger suspect. Worn seals or O-rings can cause internal air leaks, making the suspension behave unpredictably with random drops and temporary recovery. So before buying expensive parts, spend 10 minutes watching the symptoms because the suspension often tells you exactly what failed, long before you ever touch a wrench. 2. Dealer versus aftermarket parts. Breakdown. What you actually need versus what they upsell. Now this is usually where the repair bill starts getting out of control. Once a Land Rover enters the dealership with an air suspension problem, many owners assume the quote automatically means every listed part is necessary. A suspension fault appears, diagnostics get plugged in, and suddenly the estimate starts growing fast. A compressor gets listed, then a valve block, then air springs, followed by labor charges and calibration fees, and before long that repair bill starts climbing toward $2,500 to $3,500, sometimes even higher depending on the model. The problem is that many owners never realize some of those parts were not actually required. Let's look at a real example. Say a Discovery 4 drops at the rear overnight. The dealer might recommend replacing the entire rear valve block assembly along with extra components surrounding it. In some cases, the original OEM valve block alone can approach $700 to $800 before labor even enters the picture. The aftermarket suppliers sell direct-fit valve blocks for roughly $150 to $180, and many repair kits with upgraded seals and O-rings cost even less. This is already a massive difference. Now look at compressors. Older Discovery 4 and Range Rover Sport L320 vehicles often use the Hitachi compressor setup. while many later updates moved toward AMK systems. A dealership may quote a complete compressor replacement package that includes brackets, mounting hardware, programming charges, and labor. Many direct-fit aftermarket compressor kits already include most of what is needed. Good quality replacement kits commonly sit around $250 to $450, depending on the manufacturer and vehicle model. Now, air springs have become even more interesting. A dealership may suggest replacing both sides immediately, even if only one air spring is leaking. In some high-mileage vehicles, the approach can make sense because both components have aged together. But if diagnostics clearly identify a single failed air spring, replacing only that side may solve the problem immediately. Quality aftermarket air springs from brands like Arnott frequently cost a fraction of dealer pricing, while still maintaining strong reliability. This is where many DIY repairs save thousands, because one of the biggest mistakes owners make is assuming that expensive automatically means necessary. Dealers often replace complete assemblies because it reduces diagnostic uncertainty and lowers the chances of repairs coming back with recurring issues. This approach makes sense from their perspective, but for someone doing the repair themselves, it can become expensive very quickly. So before ordering anything, stop and ask a simple question. What actually failed? Not, what did the estimate say failed? Remember, there is a huge difference between replacing parts and fixing problems. 3. Air spring replacement. Step by step with safety notes and torque specs. Now, if diagnostics point toward an air spring, this is where a lot of people start panicking. The words air suspension immediately sound expensive and complicated. Many people assume the repair itself is difficult. However, replacing an air spring usually is not the hard part. The real problem is rushing the job because compressed air systems do not forgive mistakes, so safety always comes first. Park the vehicle on level ground, put the transmission in park, apply the parking brake, and use wheel chocks because you should never rely on the suspension itself for support. Once pressure starts leaving the system, ride height can change unexpectedly. Raise the vehicle and support it properly using jack stands. Do not skip this step. Now, if using a diagnostic tool like a GAPIID tool, command the suspension to release pressure safely before removal. Some people manually release pressure through fittings, but controlled deflation is safer and reduces stress on components. Once pressure is gone, remove the wheel and locate the air spring assembly. On Discovery 4 and Range Rover Sport EL 320 models, the rear setup is relatively accessible. Whereas on L405 vehicles, packaging can become tighter, so patience matters. Disconnect the airline fitting carefully and do not pull aggressively. Many damaged fittings happen because somebody gets impatient and starts forcing things. Remove mounting hardware and slowly remove the air spring assembly. According to JLR workshop specifications, mounting fasteners generally require proper torque during installation, rather than simply tightening until it feels right. Depending on model and location, air spring mounting fasteners commonly sit around the 24 to 35 Newton-meters range, but always verify exact model-specific specifications before tightening. Now compare the old and new parts side by side and pay close attention to the details. Check the connectors, look at the airline locations, and inspect the mounting tabs carefully, because even small differences matter, especially with aftermarket replacements. Many DIY repairs go wrong not because the part was bad, but because something small was missed during installation. Before installing anything, inspect the surrounding components as well, because many people replace the air spring but completely miss the reason it failed early in the first place. Check for rubbing marks, look for dirt buildup, inspect the airlines, and look for cracks or damaged fittings. Install the replacement unit in reverse order, reconnect the airline, torque the fasteners correctly, and check every connection carefully. Before lowering the vehicle, inspect the routing because one pinched line can create another leak. If everything stays level with no warnings or hissing, the repair just saves serious money. Sometimes a repair that looks expensive only needs the right diagnosis from the beginning. 4. Compressor replacement. The one connector. most DIYers miss. Now, if the compressor turns out to be the problem, many people accidentally create extra work for themselves because the issue usually is not replacing the compressor itself. The real problem is missing one small detail that can create hours of confusion afterward. If your Discovery 4 or Range Rover starts raising slowly, struggles reaching normal height, or keeps throwing suspension raising slowly messages, the compressor becomes a strong suspect. Most factory systems used either Hitachi or AMK-style compressors, depending on vehicle year and updates. Aftermarket direct-fit replacements usually cost somewhere around $250 to $450, while dealership replacement costs can become dramatically higher once labor and programming get added. Start by safely lifting the vehicle and locating the compressor assembly underneath. Disconnect the battery first, then remove the protective covers and carefully disconnect the air lines before moving forward. Now here is where people make mistakes. Most DIYers disconnect the obvious air lines and electrical plug, remove the compressor, install the new one, and assume the job is finished. Then, warning lights appear, suspension faults return, and frustration starts building quickly. The reason is surprisingly simple because one connector often gets missed during installation. Some compressor setups include an additional pressure sensor or wiring connection integrated into the mounting assembly that many people overlook while transferring components. Small details are usually what turn a one-hour repair into an all-day headache. And depending on whether you are converting between older Hitachi systems and newer AMK systems, some vehicles may also require wiring harness adaptation or software updates. Before tightening anything, compare every connector, bracket, mounting point, and airline location side by side because one missed connection can make a perfectly good compressor appear defective. Install the new compressor assembly carefully and tighten mounting hardware according to JLR specifications. Now before moving further, subscribe because next week I'm covering the 7 warning signs your air suspension is about to fail. 5. Valve block replacement. The $800 OEM part available for around $180 aftermarket. Now, this is probably the repair that surprises most Land Rover owners because valve blocks almost never get attention first. Most people immediately blame the compressor or air springs because those are the parts everyone talks about. But sometimes neither of them is actually causing the issue, which is why the symptoms can become incredibly confusing. The vehicle may drop overnight, work perfectly the next day, then one side starts sinking, followed by both sides, only for everything to suddenly start working again. This kind of inconsistent behavior often points people in the wrong direction. Because air springs usually fail in a predictable way, compressors normally become weaker gradually, while valve blocks can behave almost randomly. Inside the valve block are small internal passages, seals, and O-rings controlling where compressed air travels throughout the system. Dirt, moisture, age, and worn seals slowly create internal leakage, and once that happens, air starts moving where it should not. Now here is where the pricing gets interesting, because dealership replacement of a valve block assembly can easily reach $700 to $800 for the OEM part alone before labor starts, while direct fit aftermarket versions commonly cost around $150 to $180. The biggest bill does not always mean the biggest problem. Replacing it is actually straightforward. Safely depressurize the system, disconnect the electrical connector and air lines, compare the old and new units carefully, then reinstall everything correctly. Most owners find that reaching the fittings takes more time than the repair itself. Once everything is back together, reconnect the system and allow the suspension to refill. But the next step matters more than many people realize, because replacing parts does not automatically mean the job is finished. The hardware may be new, but the suspension system still needs to recognize and adjust to those changes properly, which is why calibration becomes important. A repaired system is not necessarily a calibrated system. Before moving on, subscribe because next week I'm covering the 7 warning signs your Land Rover air suspension is about to fail, and catching them early could save thousands. 6. Calibration after repair. Free method versus paying the dealer $200. This is where many people accidentally think the repair failed. Everything gets installed correctly, the suspension rises, and the warning lights disappear. But then the vehicle suddenly sits unevenly. One corner looks slightly lower, the ride height feels strange, or fault messages begin appearing again. At that point, many people immediately assume something is broken, when in reality the suspension often simply needs calibration. Dealerships regularly charge around $150 to $200 or more just to perform this step. This surprises a lot of owners because physically replacing the part was already completed. Now Land Rover systems measure height through ride height sensors mounted around the vehicle. When components get replaced, those stored values may no longer match reality. Hence, calibration becomes important. Tools like the GAPIID tool are commonly used because they allow owners to adjust suspension height values directly. Some alternative diagnostic systems exist as well, depending on vehicle generation and budget. The process itself is not complicated. Park the vehicle on level ground, measure the ride height according to factory specifications, connect the diagnostic tool, input the measured values, and allow the system to store the corrections. Then, cycle the suspension through different ride heights, which usually takes only a few minutes. Skipping this step creates unnecessary confusion because perfectly good replacement parts can suddenly appear defective without proper calibration. Before assuming the repair failed, make sure the system actually knows where normal ride height is supposed to be. 7. Post-repair fault. Troubleshooting. 3 common problems and fixes. Now this is the part that frustrates people the most because many owners finish the repair, lower the vehicle back down, start the engine, and immediately expect everything to work perfectly. Then a warning light appears. The suspension sits unevenly, or the system refuses to move at all, and suddenly it feels like the entire repair failed. However, often the replacement part is not actually the problem, because it usually comes down to one small detail that got missed. Let's go through the 3 issues that happen repeatedly. The vehicle still leans to one side. This one creates panic immediately because it makes people think the new air spring failed, but slows down before ordering more parts. If one side still sits lower after the repair, start with calibration first, because the ride height values stored in the system may still be using measurements from the previous setup. Cycle the suspension through access mode, normal height, and off-road height, then measure the ride height again. If the lean remains after calibration, spray soapy water around fittings and connections, and watch carefully, because even tiny bubbles usually mean air is escaping, and small leaks almost always become bigger problems later. Suspension fault message still appears. Everything gets installed, everything looks correct, and then the dashboard immediately throws a suspension fault warning. Most people instantly blame the replacement part, but the vehicle often simply stored old fault codes from before the repair. Those codes do not always disappear automatically, so use a diagnostic tool to clear them completely, restart the vehicle, and check again. Also, inspect every electrical connection carefully, because one partially seated connector can create faults that look much more serious than they actually are, especially after compressor replacement, where that commonly missed connector suddenly becomes very important. Compressor runs constantly. Now, this one should get attention immediately because compressors are designed to cycle, not run endlessly. If the compressor keeps running longer than normal, air is probably escaping somewhere. So inspect every airline connection, fitting, valve block connection, and the air spring itself. If a compressor constantly fights a leak, it eventually overheats and wears itself out, turning a simple issue into another expensive repair. Anytime the compressor sounds like it is working overtime, treat it as an early warning sign because the goal is not just fixing today's problem, but preventing next month's problem too. If this Land Rover just saved you thousands, hit like and subscribe for more repair guides and expensive mistakes to avoid. Drop your model, year, and symptoms below, because the next fix could be much cheaper than you think.